Hi, Dr. Anita here. We've been thinking through our personalities, yours and your family members. And why are we doing this? Because by understanding how each of us is uniquely wired individually, then we can now work out how do we adapt and adjust in the midst of this current bizarre crisis to know how we do our daily routine in the midst of what's going on. Today we're going to look at factor number 3, which is extraversion. And this is the area of social stimulation. In fact, you may have heard the term extrovert, and these are the people who are in the higher end of the scale, the life of the party, high energy, seeking out other people, and just thriving by being around lots of different types of people. And the lower end of the scale is the area of what you may have heard, introverts, which is lower energy, being more reserved, being more low-key, and actually quite enjoying time alone and away from other people. And actually, these people on the lower end of the scale are tending to feel quite exhausted by being around other people. So what does that mean right now for you and your family members in the midst of this really bizarre time? Well, in the higher end of the scale of the extroverts, it's a really tough time because clearly a lot of things that we're doing is around reducing as much social contact as possible. And that is tough. It's really tough for the extroverts. So the only way to adapt in the midst of this is through online forums of how we connect now through the internet and FaceTime and all these other things. And if you or your family members are tending to be on the high end, then in your households, you're going to need to think through how to stay socially connected to one another and offer those high energy times in certain ways, like games or actually creating kind of dance parties or whatever else for those who are at the higher end. But also for your children, making sure they're connected if they're in the higher end to their friends and family members, because they'll thrive a bit more by actively and intentionally pursuing being with other people through different means. On the lower end of the scale is those who are the introverts, and you may well think that they're thriving, and in some ways they will be because they're being required to stay away from people. But you have to watch the area of the online for introverts, because you can still feel bombarded by all the images and messages that are coming through online, and it still invades that internal space that they need for low key and low energy. But also, if you're in a household, then even the introverts may well struggle because it may still be too noisy in the home and it's difficult to find that quiet space. Therefore, those on the lower end of the scale that are tending to be introverts need to create some kind of space that leads to that low stimulation and downtime, really, so that they can just reset on the inside for them. So that is the scale for extraversion right the way through to introversion. And it's important you think this through, particularly for your family and the children who may be in different parts of that, and how to adapt and adjust in the midst of potentially the lockdown that you're in. So I hope that was helpful. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and so stay well and see you soon.